Imagine a world where the greatest sporting event on the earth simply did not exist. No roaring stadiums filled with 80,000 people, no children are painting their faces in national colors, no billions of viewers holding their breath as one kid changes history forever. No unforgettable moments that become part of humanity's collective memory. No Pele lifting a trophy as a teenager. No Maradona weaving through defenders. No Zidane's elegance. No Messi's completing football's greatest journey. For more than 4 billion people today, the FIFA World Cup is more than a tournament. It is an emotion, it is hope, it is heartbreaking, it is identity. Entire nations pause their daily lives for 90 minutes because somewhere on a field of grass, 11 players are carrying the dreams of millions. But have you ever wondered how something this enormous actually began? How did a simple game played on muddy field become the largest sporting spectacle on the planet? Who dared to believe that countries separated by oceans, languages, politics and wars could come together through football? And perhaps the most surprising question of all, why did the organization that now earns billions of dollars every 4 years begin with little more than a shared dream and a handful of determined visionaries? The answers are stranger than most people realize, because the story of FIFA is not just about football. It is a story about industrial revolutions, steamships, railways, empires, diplomacy, businesses, politics, war, technology, and one universal language that required no translation. Long before football became the world's game, it was simply a pastime played by workers seeking relief after exhausting factory shifts in 19th century Britain. To understand FIFA, we must first travel back to a very different world. In the mid-19th century, Britain stood at the center of the Industrial Revolution. Cities expanded rapidly, factories employed millions, railways connected towns like never before. With more organized working hours came something revolutionary for ordinary people: leisure time. Football in those days was anything but organized. Different schools and towns followed different rules. In one place, players could carry the ball with their hands. In another, they could not. Some matches involved dozens of players on each side. Others had almost no restrictions at all. Chaos was normal. Everything changed in 1863 when representatives from several English clubs gathered in London to establish a common set of rules. That meeting created the Football Association, now recognized as the oldest football association in the world. For the first time, football had a standardized identity. The timing could not have been better. Britain's influence stretched across continents. Sailors carried footballs around merchant ships. Railway engineers introduced the game wherever they worked. Soldiers organized matches during deployments. Teachers established football clubs in schools around the world. Businessmen took the sport to ports across Europe, South America, Africa, and Asia. Football spread not because governments ordered it to spread, but because ordinary people fell in love with it. Argentina embraced it through British railway workers. Brazil discovered it through young men returning from their studies in England. Italy, Belgium, and Netherlands, Switzerland, Denmark, and countless other countries began establishing their own clubs before the end of the 19th century. The game had become international, but there was one enormous problem. Every nation organized football differently. There was no single authority capable of arranging international competitions. There was no universally accepted system for referees, eligibility, or scheduling. Friendly matches often became diplomatic arguments because nobody could agree whose rules should apply. As football's popularity exploded across Europe, leaders of several national associations realized something remarkable. The sport needed its own international governing body. That realization would lead to one of the most important meetings in sporting history. On 21 1904, representatives gathered in Paris with a vision that sounded almost impossible for the era. They wanted to create an organization that would unite football across national boundaries. The meeting was surprisingly modest. No massive conference halls, no television cameras, no global media attention. just determined delegates who believed football deserves an international future. That day, 7 founding national associations officially established the Fédération Nationale de Football Association, better known simply as FIFA. These founding members were France, Belgium, Denmark, the Netherlands, Switzerland, and Sweden. Spain was represented through Madrid Football Club because the national federation had not yet been fully organized. Germany joined almost immediately by telegram on the very same day, becoming one of the FIFA's earliest members despite not being physically present during the meeting. Few people at the time could have imagined that this small organization would one day govern more member associations than the United Nations itself. Today, FIFA has 211 member associations. That number is larger than the 193 member states of the United Nations, making FIFA one of the most globally represented organizations in existence. Its first president was the French journalist and football administrator Robert Guérin. Guérin was only 28 years old when he accepted one of the most challenging leadership roles in sport. His greatest obstacle was not organizing tournaments. It was convincing countries that international cooperation was actually possible. Travel remained slow and expensive. International communications depended largely on letters and telegrams. Political tensions frequently overshadowed sporting ambitions. Even arranging one international match demanded extraordinary planning. Money was another constant struggle. The early FIFA possessed almost no financial resources. There were no billion-dollar broadcasting agreements, no multinational sponsors, no luxury headquarters, but only passion. Yet passion alone was enough to keep the dream alive. One fascinating detail rarely discussed is that FIFA founders never imagined football becoming a trillion-dollar cultural phenomena. Their immediate goal was far simpler. They wanted countries to stop arguing over rules and start playing together. Sometimes history changes because people solve practical problems rather than chase greatness. The organization's early years were filled with uncertainty. Membership expanded slowly. Some associations questioned whether FIFA would survive. Others preferred maintaining complete independence. Leadership changed quickly as a young organization searched for stability. Then came the man who would transform FIFA forever. Daniel Burley-Woolford. Daniel Burley-Woolford of England became FIFA president in 1906. Unlike his predecessors, Woolford focused intensively on standardization. He worked to ensure that every international match followed identical laws of the game. Referee became more consistent. Administrative structures improved. International football gradually became more professional. These changes may sound ordinary today, but at the time, they represented a revolution. For the first time, football truly began speaking one universal language, yet another challenge loomed on the horizon. Many people believed international football already had its ultimate competition, the Olympic Games. Football had appeared in the modern Olympics, and by the early 20th century, Olympic tournaments attracted growing attention. This created an unexpected conflict. If the Olympics already crowned international champions, did the world really need another global tournament? The answer would shape football history forever. Ironically, the Olympics also revealed football's greatest limitation. Only amateur players were generally permitted to compete under Olympic rules. As professional football expanded across Europe and South America, many of the world's finest players could not participate. The world's best footballers were often watching from the sidelines. FIFA recognized an extraordinary opportunity. What if there were a tournament where every nation could send its strongest team, regardless of professional status? At first, that idea sounded almost impossible. International travel across oceans remained slow. Steamships required weeks to cross the Atlantic. Many associations worried about cost. Others feared clubs would refuse to release players. Political disagreements complicated international cooperation even further. Still, the dream refused to disappear. Behind closed doors, FIFA officials quietly discussed an idea that would eventually captivate billions. Not another Olympic tournament, something far greater. A competition belonging entirely to football itself. A true World Cup. And when the right leader finally emerged with enough determination to turn their dream into reality, football was about to change forever.